Hi, it's Lauren Carney. Welcome back. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe for our video. Hit that little notification bell down there and it will let you know every time we update and post new videos. Also, if there's any in particular videos you would like to see about daycare, training videos, or even just whatever it is, let me know in the comments below. Hi guys, my name is Lauren Carney from Freedom to Play Texas on YouTube and Blooming Tree Preschool Training and Consulting. I promised earlier on Facebook Live that I would do a video about how to survive COVID-19 while running an in-home daycare or a center. So we're going to start off with just a few of the questions that people have asked me. We're going to talk about, do you need to close? I've got a list here. I didn't want to forget questions. Several people have asked me different questions, so I included it in my list. Do I need to close? Are there any special procedures I need to take if I stay open? What about my kids who are traveling for spring break? What happens if I do have to close? And how am I going to get food to feed my kids? All really good questions, you guys, so thank you for sending those in. We're going to start with the first one. Do I need to close? So, as of right now, the answer is no. Also, let me remind you, I'm in Texas, so all the minimum standards we follow is through Texas, and the state guidelines that we follow will come from licensing here in Texas. So, just kind of keep that Texas filter on during this video as you watch. Things for your state may be different at this current point in time. So no, you do not have to close. Closing actually puts a lot of burden on your families, as you well know, and so we try to stay open as long as we can. Now there are some suggestions. We're going to talk about some different procedures you may put into place. We are going to talk about sending a letter to parents. I will also talk about several things that probably need to be included into that letter. And of course, the biggest one I keep getting questions about, food. How are you going to get your food that you need with all the stores putting limits on things? All right, so let's get started. Okay guys, so here we go. What I'm going to do is talk about some different items that you need to take into consideration. Most of these items probably need to be set up in a letter for your parents, and you can just bullet point it, you can type it all out, you can shorthand it, whatever works best for you. But I would suggest sending a letter home to parents and letting them know that, hey, I am aware that COVID-19 is going on. This is what we are doing to help prevent the spread of this virus, and here are the procedures we are following currently. Make sure you put a note on there if this procedure is different than what is in your parent handbook. Okay, guys? Because some of my suggestions are going to be different than what the state sets in place here in Texas and what your handbook more than likely states. So don't forget to add that in there to your parents. I would also definitely tell your parents and reiterate to them that you are doing everything you can to keep their children safe and healthy. And when you start writing about, sickness and fever, add in there, this is a group effort to keep our kids healthy. All right, guys, so I would emphasize that in your newsletter, just so that parents are like, oh, I have to take some responsibility for this too, because it is a group effort. All right, so I've got my notes here and some bullet points to keep me from straying. We'll see how that goes. All right, so our first thing on the agenda is sickness. Typically, in the state of Texas and our minimum standards, if a child has a temperature of 100 degrees or more, they are sent home. They have to be fever-free for 24 hours. Know where I'm getting 48. 24 hours before they can return to school and completely symptom-free. After reading through the CDC's website and the COVID-19 website that the government has set up, They are suggesting that anybody in daycare centers or schools with a temperature of 99.5 degrees or higher not attend. I am not completely sure if this is because people with this virus are running lower fevers or if this is to try to catch it head on. So that is something I would change in your policies temporarily, that anybody with a temperature of 99.5 or higher will be sent home. They must be fever-free, symptom-free for 24 hours before returning to your facility. Another thing I would suggest I would just straight up and tell my parents, this is probably already in your handbook. You've already gone through it in December during flu season, but we're going to tell parents again, if your child has a runny green nose, green means infection, you guys. If it's allergies, it's typically clear. But if they have a runny green nose, I would send them home unless they come back with a doctor's note stating that they are not contagious. Same thing with a continuous cough. I get allergies suck. If your kid has a cough for a day, okay, sure. But if your child has a continuous cough, I would like to have a doctor's note just so we know they are not contagious. So some of that may go by your handbook. Some of that may change and be just a temporary ask for now from parents. Spring break travels. A lot of you guys know. So where I live, we had spring break last week. About an hour from us, they have spring break this week. So what I would ask is that anybody who has gone to a large theme park, SeaWorld, Six Flags, Disney World, something like that, and has been around a bunch of people, the CDC website says 250 or more. So we're not talking about like the grocery store or a library or whatever. If they've been to a large theme park, okay, if they've been out of state, either by airplane or what's the other one, or a cruise ship, that they stay home for 2 weeks. Now, again, I know this is not enforceable, unfortunately, but it is something you can put in your parent newsletter and just ask that if they've been out of state traveling, if they've been on an airplane, if they've been on a cruise, if they've been to a large theme park or a large museum, to please stay home for at least 2 weeks and quarantine yourself. Like I said, it's not enforceable, but it does show that you are taking responsibility and trying to do what's best for your center. All right, next thing on our list. Classroom center sanitation. All right, guys, if you are in Central Texas, in Belton, Temple, maybe Waco, I'm not sure if the company advertised for Waco, but there is a company called Texas Pro Wash. They do sanitizing of playgrounds. For the time being, if you own a center, a licensed in-home daycare, or have a large, they're doing it for schools and stuff too, contact them. They will come sanitize your playground for free. If you are not in my area, maybe you reach out to some of the places that do sanitizing stuff like that and ask them if they have any specials right now. Or you just get out there with a scrub brush and scrub it all down and clean it yourself. But one thing you're going to need to do is sanitize everything. Most of you guys probably already know this. But some things you may not think about: dress up clothes, toy dolls, your food in your home living center. Let's see, another one, blocks. The big blocks typically get overseen by people when sanitizing, and your bicycles, your tricycles, your balls on the playground. Playgrounds are huge, guys. Don't forget to sanitize those playgrounds. Door handles, doorknobs, everything. All right. Also, don't forget in that parent newsletter to reiterate to parents. And I mean, if you want, you could just copy it straight out of your parent handbook or off the minimum standards. But I would say, to help, how would I word that? An effort to help prevent the spread of this virus, we are making sure we sanitize on a schedule and regularly, and that whatever, I don't know, you figure out the wording of it. But that way parents know you are cleaning. Also, I reiterate that we have a dirty toy bucket. If it's in our toddler classroom and a toddler picks it up and puts it in their mouth or coughs on it or spits in it, it goes in the dirty toy bucket. In your older classrooms, I would make a dirty toy bucket, and during circle time, we'd talk about, if I'm coughing and I'm playing with a toy, that toy's going to go in that bucket and I'm going to go wash my hands. We are going to start adding into our curriculum hand washing routines every single week. We are going to remember to sing our song. We're going to make a game out of it. The whole class is going to sing while we wash our hands. Something fun, but let's get that stuff sanitized and let's let our parents know we're doing this. Let's see what else is on here. Oh, make sure you are following the minimum standards and your products, your cleaning products are EPA certified. Also, and this one gets overlooked all the time, you guys, check your product label. Typically, it's 60 seconds. If I spray it on the table, if I spray my cleaner on the table and I wipe it off, I did not sanitize it properly. It did not sit long enough to kill viruses. So spray it, let it sit for that 60 seconds, and then wipe it off. This is something I would definitely reiterate in a staff meeting with your staff, that we got to make sure we're following those labels, okay? All right. Payments and tuition. One way to help prevent let me do parent control first because that goes into parents and tuition. So one thing you do not want in your center is mom and dad coming in to drop off little Johnny, walking in the classroom, touching the cubbies, putting stuff away, standing around, bye, love you, So one thing you need to focus on is parental control. This can be done by either meeting and greeting your parents at the door. I would ask only one parent come to pick up and drop off the child, not both at the same time. One can stay in the vehicle and get the air conditioning going or something, I don't know. But you can meet them at the front door and have your floater pick them up, take the child to immediately wash their hands, and then to their classroom. That way there's only staff going in and out of your facility. Or if you have a greeting and reception area, the parents can drop off there and your floater will come and pick up and drop off. This is preventing parents from entering your classrooms, especially with those little bitty ones that we know are vulnerable to COVID-19. All right, let's see what else I put under that. Hand washing. In Texas, I don't know about other states, but in Texas, hand sanitizer cannot be used on toddlers and babies. It has to be soap and water. So maybe you have it in your 4-year-old classroom or your 3-year-old classroom and you're letting them sanitize their hands as they come in. That's amazing. But your younger kids have to have soap and water. And I would mandate that from now on, every child that enters your building immediately washes their hands. Let's see. Nap mats. So typically nap stuff goes home on Fridays to clean. I have left my son's nap mat in the car over the weekend before when I was busy and returned it on Monday because it didn't look dirty. It was during the summer. It wasn't a big deal. I would definitely reiterate to parents in your parent newsletter that all nap items will go home on Friday to please make sure they are sanitized and washed before they are returned on Monday. Also, jackets, hats, and gloves must be cleaned and sanitized over the weekend because those jackets get gross and we don't want those coming back in. Please add jackets to your nap time cleaning routine. What else do we have on here? Okay, now we're going to go into payments. So another great way to help prevent those parents from going in all the time is asking parents if it's possible to do their payments and their tuition online. If it's not, then I would let whoever know. I may be limited to just checks. You don't want to keep that cash on you anyways. But whoever is taking that money, make it to one location where parents can go straight there and straight back so we don't have all that extra germs coming in. I would put some type of information in your parent newsletter stating that if local schools close, you will remain open and tuition will be due. I understand if parents for some reason are not earning a paycheck during that time period because it is closed. And that may be a hardship. And that's something that the director needs to go ahead and think about and have a solution for and have it ready. So when you have that teacher's aide that comes in and says, I'm not getting a paycheck because the school closed, what can I do? That director or your school board or your owner has just figured out a solution and how they're going to handle it, and they already have it in writing and ready to go because at some point that will happen. All right. So now we move on to the food. Are you guys ready? This is a fun one. Okay, guys, so now the question you've all been asking for, food. All right, so I called the following businesses. Let me adjust my camera here. There we go. All right. Aldi's, Sam's Club, H-E-B, Costco, and Walmart. I spoke to the managers at each of them and said, hey, if I own a daycare and I have several little mouths to feed, can I bring in my business license so that I can get the amount of milk I need? I specifically used milk because that's huge. And I was met with the same answer with each person. No. They have put limits on there and they are standing strong no matter if you are business or not. So here are my suggestions for the time being of different ways to handle this situation. All right. So the very first thing, if you choose to still provide meals, one thing I have made sure of is the wording. So when I went to H-E-B today, everything says per transaction. I can get 2 gallons of milk. My husband can get 2 gallons of milk. We stand in 2 different lines and now we've got 4. So it is per transaction. This means you might have to go several times that week to the grocery store. It might mean you bring a staff member with you to get everything you need for the week, but it can be done. I will warn you, a lot of the quick fix meals that we all use, like prepackaged macaroni and cheese, frozen chicken nuggets, are not, we're not being able to find those in the stores at this point. I'm hoping that the chaos will settle down and by next week we will have access as grocery stores are restocked. So fingers crossed. My other suggestions are have your parents bring their own meals. And the way I would word this, I would word it very professionally to parents, and I would word it similar to something like, to help in our part during this crisis, we are asking that parents provide a cold lunch and snack for their child during this time, as we are in a current state with food shortages. That sounds bad now that I said it, not food shortages, but you know, whatever would sound appropriate and professional in that term. I would ask, you guys, kills me to say this. Okay, I love sustainability. It's one of my biggest things, but I would ask that your parents provide things that can be thrown away and easily done. The more you are handling a child's food, the more you are going to be getting the germs from their home. The more you are handling the food, the more your germs are going to that child. So I would set it up to where there is a little amount of interaction as you can between that child's meal and you. I would also definitely, again, suggest cold foods. I would reiterate, we can put your child's lunchbox in the refrigerator, or we can't put your child's lunchbox in the refrigerator. Please remember to put an ice pack if it needs to stay cold. I will tell you from working at a Montessori school where we did warm up the children's meals, we had 10 at the time, I believed, and it wasn't so bad. But if each child's meal takes 30 seconds to a minute to warm up, you're looking at 10 minutes just for a few kids. So for your staff's sanity, for health reasons, and to help prevent the spread of different germs, let's pack cold meals. You can also sit there and set up a thing where Maybe the parents provide the food and you provide the snacks if you can find them, or the parents provide all of it. Also, as a side note, directors, if you typically provide food and now your parents are providing food, you will have that parent that will ask you if that means they get a reduction in tuition. I would go ahead to plan on adding that to your newsletter. There is not a reduction in tuition. This is allowing us to remain open so that you may work. That is how I would word it. Okay? What else do I have on here? If you are choosing to still provide meals, I would not do family style meals during this point. We love family style dining. I love the kids being able to interact and use their skills, but this is not the time to do that. It will make it, I guess the germs will just, let's just not do it. Noses on spoons and just, no. No family dining during this time period. Let's see. Oh, yes. Most of your meals, unfortunately, may have to be homemade if you choose to serve them. You might just have to buy elbow macaroni and a big chunk of cheese and make your own. So I would let your staff know that as these changes are being made, they're going to have to be flexible. They need to have songs ready to go. So as you're getting ready and serving meals to the kids, they have something to do. Maybe we're reading a book, maybe we're singing a song, maybe we're doing some hand plays, but we are being ready and we are flexible so that we can handle whatever may pop up. Okay, now directors. This is for you. Oh, okay. You guys all are going to get the crazy parents and the amazing parents. Depends on the day and how they feel. They're stressed at work. They're stressed at home. They're scared things are going to close. They're fighting to get regular groceries. So keep that in mind and go ahead and write your parent newsletter accordingly. Just state matter of the fact. Here's what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. Send it home so they know that you're on the ball. In the back of your office, take a piece of paper, write down all of the questions and things that you think a parent may say, and go ahead and find the solutions and the answers for those. So when that parent comes up and asks you a question that you really didn't think they would ask, you know the answer. I would also go ahead and prepare your staff to start using the terms, I can ask my director that and give it to you in the morning. Maybe you add some comment cards to each classroom. That way, if the director is out and a parent has a question that the staff doesn't know, they can write it down, pass it to the director, and in the morning she can get that answer to that parent and contact them. That way, our staff are not getting yelled at or grouched at or trying to just come up with some random answer off the top of their head. Because we all know when crisis hits, people get crazy and they are not always the nicest. If your staff has to call and send home a child because they have a green snotty nose, your parents are going to say, but it's just allergies. At that point, maybe you have a small script written out or you have practiced with your staff how to appropriately respond to that. I'm so sorry, but at this point in time, if your child has a lime green nose, we are asking that they do not return until they have a doctor's note. You have 30 minutes to pick up your child. Who will be picking up your child today? Those types of things. So think ahead, be on the ball. You guys can do this. You're amazing. If you have any comments, questions below, anything that I can add to the next video that I may not have addressed in this one, please comment below and let me know. And everybody have a great spring break.